Week one, I think Caesars has already released their lines, and we're going to be going over some of the best bets. Week one, we don't need to know any training camp information. We can jump in, lock it in right now.
Right.
While you still can, because I guarantee you these all hit week one.
And no one's going to get injured at camp.
No,
either.
Absolutely not. Nobody's getting injured in preseason. These are all going to hit. All right, week one, easiest bet of your life. Jacksonville -1.5 against Houston.
Man, I can't believe you just said that was the easiest bet of your life.
Easiest bet of my life.
With the one I'm going to break down after this one is probably the easier one, but no, this one's pretty easy too.
Who knows about Deshaun Watson? Don't care. I'm riding high on Jacksonville this year. I think they're actually going to have a good season.
Well, now they have Tim Tebow.
They got Tim Tebow in that tight end.
That's not official yet, is it?
That is official. Their first round draft pick, Travis Etienne, the running back. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Who cares? He's actually lining up at wide receiver right now.
I heard that.
Urban Meyer is just playing chess while all these other coaches are playing checkers. Couldn't explain that one to you.
Well, the Jacksonville Jaguars and a player like that reminds me of Denard Robinson when they had him a couple years ago and they just labeled him offensive weapon.
Yeah.
Remember that? That's the kind of thing I think of when I hear that kind of shenanigans. That's a good way to think about Urban Meyer so far in Jacksonville. There's been a couple shenanigans
there has
already.
Been. He's throwing some curveballs.
It's a little weird.
Tim Tebow, draft a running back in the first round, line him up at wide receiver.
And he brought in a member of his personnel and fired them within a week.
Nice.
It's weird. There's some
awesome.
Weird stuff going on.
I have full faith in Jacksonville. I picked them to easily cover 1.5 point spread.
I think that's a really good bet because is it at Jacksonville? Do you know?
No, it's at Houston.
Well, Houston it's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like the entire time we've been doing this show now, this is episode, I think 8 or 9.
Yeah.
The entire time we've been doing this show, we have just been crapping all over the Texans.
Which is so funny because they literally took a dump on us Thanksgiving last year.
Well, rightfully so. That franchise is going to be in such bad shape, especially without Deshaun Watson for a while.
Yeah.
So the Jaguars, who picked number 1 in the draft, they were the worst team in the NFL last year. Then they won one game. I think it's no question they're going to beat the Texans.
And the one game
by that spread, that's awesome. Yeah, those are awesome odds.
That one game they won last year, they beat Indianapolis in week 1.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
I remember they played the Chiefs the year before in week 1, and they actually held their own for quite a bit of the game, and then the wheels just fell off as they do. But
so I think they had who did they have? Nick Foles. That was a game that Nick Foles started, and then Gardner Minshew came in, and Minshew mania
actually looked pretty good. Yeah, that was when that whole thing started. Yeah.
What's your first game? Apparently, this is an easier bet.
Well,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
Well, I want to talk about it because it's literally the biggest spread in the NFL week 1. Our Detroit Lions playing against the San Francisco 49ers, 7.5 spread, -7.5 for the Niners.
Yeah.
It's the largest spread. I think the second largest is the Bears and Rams, and it's 7. So it's not. It's pretty big too. But I hate to say it just because I'm obviously a Lions fan, but this is money in the bank.
Plus 7.5 for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
No, I'm saying San Francisco definitely wins this game
by more than 8 points.
Yes, definitely.
Oh,
yeah, definitely. I hate to say it.
Oh, you threw me a curveball.
Well, yeah, it sucks, but
as you're wearing a Lions hat right now,
one team is a team that if everything goes right, they could find their way in the Super Bowl, and one team, if everything goes right, they could find their way to 7 wins.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it's much of a conversation. I think that the spread is justified. It is big. It's the biggest one. That's the only thing that's kind of surprising. It's the biggest one, but I think it's justified.
Yeah, I would take the Lions plus 7.5, just because I don't know with San Francisco. I feel like they always kind of come out flat.
But look, you have a team like the Niners who this main core of people, Garoppolo, Shanahan, George Kittle, Nick Bosa. Like these guys have been together for a couple of years now, and I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. They're
high-powered.
They're just a high-powered offense, great defense.
Yeah.
The Lions, they're going to go out there with Jared Goff week 1. We don't know what we're going to get with him. We don't know a lot about this team. No. And the fact that we had a whole draft class that seems like most of the guys we drafted rounds 1 through 7 are probably going to have significant starting time.
Yeah.
Like this could be we've talked about it. It could be a really bad team.
It could be.
And week 1 is the kind of spot where I feel like that's going to kind of become evident, like where the problems are when you're going up against a really top-notch team like the Niners. So,
yeah, no, I totally agree with all of that.
It's a tough one for the Lions to go out and do week 1. So.
Very valid point. My next game is the over. Never bet the under. Minnesota and Cincinnati. I think it's just going to be points galore in this game. I think Cincinnati's defense is fugazi, garbage, trash. So I think that this over is low. And you know what? Honestly, I don't think Minnesota's defense is very good either. And I think that Joe Burrow in that offense is going to be able to produce some points. The offensive line is obviously still a question. They probably won't be able to establish a run game, but screw it, man. Just let Joe sling the ball.
I guess my only question is, are we a little apprehensive because he is coming off of a major injury week 1? Like, are we really going to see him at 100% letting it fly, like you're saying? Like,
I think so. I mean, he's young. And athletes come back from torn ACLs now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think he'll be 100% by week 1. And I think first play of the game, I don't see why they don't draw up a streak to his buddy.
Well, I think now with him being on the team, I think that would be one of those situations where you see like a lot of success early because like they already are comfortable with each other and like
the chemistry is already there.
And a lot of teams won't have had the time to properly adjust their scheme or just plan on that connection. So like they could come out the gates hot, maybe. Like I could see that happening.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. My second bet here is week 1. So New versus Miami. New England is favored by -1.5. But I'm taking the Dolphins on this one. I think the Dolphins are going to win this game. And it's a really small spread, so you can obviously see it's a pretty close game. But I know we've been kind of praising New England quite a bit for their offseason, and rightfully so. But I really feel like Miami last year made leaps and bounds, and like they look like they're probably as good as New England, if not a little better. And I could just see them like Tua coming out week 1 and just getting off to a hot start.
I like that pick because I think Cam Newton's going to start. And I don't think Cam Newton can win that game.
Did they beat the Dolphins last year at all?
No, I don't think so.
Did they actually get swept by them? Like they lost both games?
I would not be shocked.
Wow.
I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see the Patriots officially show up for a game until week 4.
Right. That feels like that kind of game.
That seems like it would be
like they're 1-2 going into that game or something, and then they just clean it all up against Tom.
Yeah, exactly. And they just put together like the most perfect game possible. My third game is hold on. Excuse me. I misspoke. They did beat Miami in week 1 last year.
Okay.
Cam Newton had 155 passing yards and 75 rushing yards. Good for him.
Probably best game of the year.
Probably. My third game is one that we touched on a little bit earlier. I think the LA Rams beat the Chicago Bears on Sunday night by 70 points.
Well, okay. All right.
No, in all seriousness, I do think that the Rams come out and beat the tar out of the Bears.
I do think the Bears are going to get stomped on. I don't think it's a question. It's not going to be pretty.
And I now agree with you. I think they will start Andy Dalton week 1.
It's the meme at this point. It's just like, oh, they take a quarterback. You got to let the veteran have the starting job for 2 weeks, and then he either gets hurt or gets benched.
Let the rookie watch on the sidelines for a little bit.
Right, and I think the only difference is if you're taking like 1 to like 3. I think that maybe a team will just, depending on what team it is, be like, no, we're starting him from week 1. But if it's anyone past that, I feel like these guys have to, like, in air quotes, earn it.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I just feel like Stafford's going to come out and look the best he's ever looked.
I bet he's, like, invigorated. Like, he's going to really just, like, recharge, like.
And I feel like that's just going to be infectious for the whole team. You know, it's gonna give them the feeling like, okay, we got our guy. Let's go out and let's play.
Oh, I hope you're right. I mean, I think you're right with this bet. I mean, I don't know about 70 points. That's a little optimistic.
Obviously, that was exaggerating.
But I'm definitely, I'm definitely taking them to beat them by more than 7. Yeah, absolutely.
What's your last one?
Last one is KC over the Browns by 5.5. Yeah, Ted, that's a slam dunk because we just talked about it a little while ago. Andy Reid is a force to be reckoned with the first month of the season. The Browns are famously a team that doesn't always have their shit together, and it takes them a little bit to figure it out. And when you're playing against Patrick Mahomes, and after they just got embarrassed in the Super Bowl, like, I think the Chiefs are just going to clean them up.
Another good reason.
And I've been pretty hot on the Browns too. I think that the Browns are a really good team, but like Casey is just a different breed in these kind of games. So I think it's an easy money.
I think you might be onto something there because I might be mistaken, but I believe teams coming off a loss in the Super Bowl are usually like a lock week 1.
Well, maybe
which makes sense.
Maybe except if you're the Atlanta Falcons, maybe just after you lose in the Super Bowl, you just are depressed for the next 5 years or however
they might be the one loss.
Right.